All right, so I'm going to be doing a house review on a clone house that I have not talked about yet on this channel. And I had several people asking me about this house. I hadn't done it for a couple reasons. One is I just hadn't tried too many of their offerings, but I think um, you know, I at a point where I at least want to give my kind of first impressions on this. I haven't had a whole lot of time with them yet, so I'm going to do a follow-up video. But I will just give a general kind of first impressions video on what I think about them from what I've tried. I'm going to wear them more to give you a more in-depth review on longevity, performance, that kind of stuff. Um, the house is called Makin Scents. Um, and I'm sure you've seen them around the fragrance groups. They seem to have a pretty good customer base. Their bottles are fairly basic. These are little decant bottles. Their 30 mils are pretty basic as well. I mean, most clone houses use decant bottles. They do have a pretty basic label. It looks kind of nice. Um, Now, the main draw for these fragrances, as you can tell, I haven't used a ton of these. That's what I'm saying. So I need more time with them. Um, is pricing. These 17 mils, I believe, run for about 20 bucks, which ain't bad at all, especially compared to some of the other clone houses. 30 mils, I believe, are pretty cheap from them as well, probably around $30. I can't remember exactly, so look it up yourself. I don't want to be telling you all wrong, but anyway, I had a lot of people asking me about this because obviously I review a lot of clone houses and I have not talked about them yet on my channel, so I wanted to at least give a first impressions video. There's a reason I didn't talk about him, and I will say that now is one reason is I didn't want to give sort of a bad light on a clone house that I had not really had enough time to fully experience and give my thoughts on. I didn't want to jump the gun, or whatever other kind of saying you want to say, but that said, I will give my first impressions because there's no harm in that. I just want you all to know that I do need to wear these more before giving a more in-depth feedback. I did pick up two fragrances from them. Splish Splash, which is their version of Afternoon Swim, and then Coastal Moss, which I'm sure you guessed it, is their version of Pacific Rock Moss. So, we'll spray these on the test strip for you. And here's the reason, one of the reasons I didn't want to do this yet, but it's not going to change, so I guess I will speak to it. Both of these in the opening smell very heavily of alcohol. So if you've had fragrances, you spray them, it smells like really strong alcohol at first. This clone house does that. I don't know if it could be one of two things. It could be that they are using, less oil, but I think they say they're concentrated like 50%, or somebody said that. It might not be the house, so don't quote me on that. So that wouldn't really make sense. It could either be either they're not using a lot of oil, and it's a lot of alcohol in these, or the type of alcohol they're using, the type of perfumer's alcohol they're using, is not of, in my opinion, the best quality. Which is giving it that kind of vodka smell. Now, as it dries down, it goes away. So don't think you're stuck with that, and if you're okay with kind of sitting there and just dealing with it, it's not. Once it goes away, and when it goes away, the scents are pretty good. But that opening, it's off-putting. Think if you're one of those people who don't like the Lemon Pledge and Club du Nuit Intense Man, this is worse. But now, I mean, you can still smell the alcohol in the rock moss, but it's definitely toning down already. But it's there in both. Okay, so the openings in these are off-putting to me. Now, once it starts to go away, the scents themselves are pretty good. They're pretty close. I've certainly smelled worse clones of both. So, the scents aren't bad. The pricing is good. It's really good for Remember most clone houses? It seems like the owner's a stand-up guy. Seems like they have a pretty good group. You know, so you're certainly not like out a bunch of money if you try it and you find out it's not for you. The opening is too much for me. But what I'm going to do, like I said, I did wear Pacific. Actually, I wore both of these to the gym. They held up through my workout. I can't really recall how much longer they held up after that. So I'm going to, I don't want to, and they could have very well held up a while after that. I haven't worn them that much. So I'm going to give these more wearings. I'll wear one of them to the gym tonight and see how it holds up. And then I'll have to wear it again because I know when you're sweating and stuff, it can kind of push it out a lot more than it would normally. But I will wear it to see how longevity is, and then I will go back with all of you all on a follow-up video. So this is just my first impressions. Price point, excellent. Presentation, it's okay. But again, nobody really cares about the presentation. One thing I will also say, don't take this the wrong way either, hopefully, is the juice is clear in all their offerings that I've seen. As is, say, Dossier or somewhere like that. When you get high naturals, you get this yellow. Okay? Now, it could also be carrier oils they use, but if you get different releases from some of these houses, or say like a Dua, that yellow is usually from high naturals. So what that tells me is this is probably what also might be playing into that harsh alcohol opening is the fact that they probably use a lot of synthetics, wherever they're getting their oils from. Again, I'm going to wear them to give you more feedback. The reason I hadn't earlier is because of the reasons I just stated. I never bought any more from them, but I don't think that's fair to the house, and I certainly don't want to bash a house or something. I have not actually had enough time to really fully give a chance. So I am going to do that, and I'll give a follow-up video. At this point, again, pricing's great. Scent profile so far, it's pretty good. But it's very harsh opening. So anyway, I'll do a follow-up video, and I'll touch base with you all tomorrow.